right. Okay. So, hello, Frank. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well.
Awesome. So, yes, I'm Jordan. I work at Summer alongside Frank, who maybe wants to introduce himself as well.
Yeah, so I'm Frank. I work at Summer as a product manager, and it's always a pleasure to work together with you, Jordan.
Great. That's nice. So, basically, what we want to talk about today is one automation, and what automations are these sort of automatic things that your position can do for you to make management of a position really much easier and much better. So the one we're going to focus on today is what we call auto buy. And basically what auto buy is you setting up specific prices at which you want to buy additional collateral for your position, always, or in this case for multiply positions. And how it works is as the price rises, you can buy more, which may sound a little bit counterintuitive to some people. So yeah, first question for you, Frank, that maybe we both can answer is, why should people use auto buy? And why does it kind of make sense for them?
Yeah. So auto buy really should be used if you think in whatever asset you're thinking. If there's a bullish trend. But now with a bullish trend, you might think, okay, for example, ETH price goes up. But like if you are a full-time bear or a part-time bear, then the price going down can also be a bullish trend for you. So basically, when you think there's a trend going in a direction that you want to follow, then you can use auto buy to just keep buying additional collateral by drawing a little bit extra depth and using that depth to swap for more collateral as the price reaches these triggers. So yeah, that's the gist of it.
And how does this compare to, like, what would a user be doing manually that now they're doing automatically? Like maybe you've had to position yourself, or I can talk about myself if you want, but like what would they be doing on their own, clicking buttons, signing transactions, all of this different stuff that now they can do without having to do that in their life, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. So this is really to make sure that like let's say you're bullish until a certain number. So like you think like the price of Bitcoin will go to 150,000, but you want to buy all the way up to 100,000. You want to be long that for that whole trajectory. What you can then do is set up these auto buys to make sure that you keep buying additional collateral to keep you, for example, at 2 or 3x exposed to the price of Bitcoin. Because as the price rises, your leverage goes down that you have already bought. So let's say you are at 2x. And what auto buy allows you to do is that as you go down to, let's say, 1.8x, we buy you back up to be again at 2x. And that is like the real powerful nature of auto buy, because then instead of starting at 2x at, let's say, 50,000 per Bitcoin, and just being 2x all the way to going gradually down from 2x to almost 1.2x or something like that when the price reaches 100,000. Instead of it being like that, you can continuously be on 2x throughout. So your exposure just increases as the price rises.
Great. So you kind of hit the nail on the head of the next or the last thing I want to talk about before we sort of share how to actually do it in the product. But you know, there's this question of when to do things, right? Of course, you mentioned what we should kind of already hit on. Like you mentioned, if there's not a bullish trend, let's say, you definitely don't want to do this because the price is not going to get hit in your estimation. But there are other scenarios in terms in which, like, maybe you wouldn't want to do this as well. Maybe we're reaching what you perceive to be the top of the market, let's say. So can you just kind of talk through, like, what are the different contexts and what are, like, the different maybe strategies that users should be thinking about, less so from, hey, this is how I do it, more so from the perspective of, this is what's going on, this is what my outlook on the market is, and so they can kind of pattern match between, hey, this is the situation in the market, this is what's going on, and they can easily map in their head to say, this is a perfect time for auto buy.
Yeah. So I think generally speaking, you should use an auto buy if you're thinking that the market will continue to trend up from the perspective of your collateral. And as I said before, your collateral can be a stable coin, so you can be also short something with auto buy. But assuming you're long, for example, then like you should expect your collateral, for example, to increase tens of percentage points in relation to your debt. I think that's the quickest use case when you should really set it up. So that should be your outlook on the market. But like still, you could even set it up for just one go. Like if you just think it's going to go up a couple of percent, but you just want to get that tiny bit extra out of there, you can even set it up for that. So like it's really up to you how to use it. And what's really nice with the auto buy of summer is that you can set a maximum buy price. And that means that there is like a point that you set after which we will not buy for you anymore.
Right. And just to be clear, the contracts will not trigger for you. It's not us, buying for you in any way.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's a great point. Just want to really hit on that one before you, maybe while you share your screen, because I think it's a really powerful one. That means that you can set auto buy up to a point, to a threshold, to a specific price. So you can basically express, hey, I want to keep buying up until this price, and then just let the rest ride after that. Which is, I think, really powerful. It's something that you do yourself anyway. So maybe now we can
get into it.
Yeah.
All right, let me share the window. So here we have a position. It's a long position of ETH to USDC. It's a multiply position, and you can also see that like we have the multiple noted here. We have the multiply, like the risk slider over here. And what we also can see is that it's an AVA v3 position on what this little logo is, the logo of Arbitrum. So it's an L2. It's a position on an L2. And that means that even if you have like a net value of less than $30, you can still use this because if you believe that like the price will quadruple, for example, then that's still a great gain that you can make. So again, the multiple is currently at 2.03. And I can go to the optimization tab, and then we have two options. We will not go into the take profit today, but we will go into that in a future video if you're, and it might already be live at the point that you're watching this. So keep your eyes peeled up, or ask for us in the Discord if you want to have that video, or you can post it in the comments down below. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way. Just gotta remind you guys that that's super important to do always.
Yep.
But what we're interested in is we want to stop missing these buying opportunities. So you set up auto buy to automatically buy additional collateral with your position's depth when the price of your collateral is increasing, so you never miss a buying opportunity again. And there's a link to more information on our documentation website. But you can set it up, and in the setup, there's basically a couple of things that you need to look at. So we use this the trigger LTV and the target LTV, and we base this on an LTV because, like, many people think of their positions from the point of the LTV, and for those of you at home who find it difficult to calculate this in their heads, but like 50% LTV is a multiple of 2x around that. So let's say we want to set a trigger that triggers at let's put it let's say at 48%, and we want the target to be 53%, and we want a max buy price of 4,000.
So, well, tell me, Frank, like, let's say I'm me, maybe it's easy for you to think about LTV, but let's say, I've opened this position, I have my position open, I'm thinking about my liquidation price, and I'm thinking in terms of, I'm checking the price every day in terms of what, the ETH USDC price is, or ETH USD price is. What if I have my position here and I'm just like, okay, like, what is the price that it's going to buy at next? Like, how can I think about those easy questions in terms of when is it going to buy next at what price? And obviously, it's very easy to think about, hey, it's going to never buy above 4K ETH USDC. But yeah, how do I know, like, what's going to happen next, basically, and what price?
Yeah, so initially it will execute at this price, so at 3145.25.
Okay.
And so we can also have a bit of a look in the order information. So the target LTV after each one is the 53, whilst the trigger where it's performed at is at 48. And so every time it goes from 48 to 53.
Okay.
There is a like, this is just like a for like a to inform the user that there might be a slight deviation based on the market conditions. So you can, like, a trigger will execute if it will get you anywhere between 52 and 54%. Outside of that, the triggers will not trigger because like, then the market conditions are in a state where like, there is not enough liquidity for whatever reason to get you to that state.
Okay.
For a position of this size, it should always trigger you very close to the 53%. But it's good to keep that in mind. And like, another reason why this bit is important is to protect you basically from like, from it executing whilst, like, so perhaps there's an auto buy that's being triggered, and then like, the auto buy becomes eligible in block 1, and then in the block thereafter, for whatever reason, the price drops again by 10%. then even though that it was eligible, it isn't eligible anymore, and you like it will not be able to execute because of that price drop. So even though that we might have sent or like the automation system might have sent a transaction in order to get you to that 53%, because of the price drop and because of this deviation check, it will not trigger. So this is another protection that we add for you guys, so that you can feel comfortable while using this feature, that it will only trigger if all the conditions are right. And what we can also see is that it will buy 0.022 ETH as collateral. It will show you what the outstanding debt will be after this next buy. This is the collateral after the next buy. This is the ETH that will be purchased within this buy, and this is the debt that you will have, and the incurred gas fee for it as well.
Now, Frank, to a question I always hear from people is this fear around the gas in, let's say, a tumultuous market, circumstance or something like that, like where gas is really spiking. Do these execute regardless of the gas price? Is there a max gas price that they will execute at? Like, should users be worried about, a position like this size, for example? Well,
Yeah.
on Arbitrum, maybe it doesn't matter, but let's say on mainnet, if a user had a relatively large position but not too large, and the gas price was huge, then maybe it doesn't really make sense for it to execute for them. But yeah, so how do we do execution around gas prices and stuff like that?
Yeah, so currently on mainnet, there's a minimum of 10,000 net value that you need to have in order to set up automations in general. And that is indeed because of the gas costs. And on the L2s, the minimum is a lot lower. I think it's 10. It's set to 10, something like that. And that will allow the systems to be like not costing you more in terms of gas than they deliver you in profits. So, and on mainnet there is also a max gas that's being paid. On L2s, I think there is a max gas as well, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. So if you want to know the answer to that, you can find us on Discord and ask that question, and we will make sure to have a response to that. But on mainnet, you will also be able to set your preferred max gas price if you're so inclined to to change that.
Okay, cool. So how do we get this going? And so just to recap, actually, we've set we know what our next price is going to be, around 3,100. So it looks like the price of ETH is dropping rapidly here in front of our eyes. So so we know the next price is going to be around 3,100, so that's great. But the key thing is also the LTV, which is going to be, looks like 48%. So that will be a constant. And the variable that we can really play with here in terms of how much you want to buy is the distance between the trigger LTV and the target LTV, which I don't actually think is something we covered. So it's 5% here, but if we want to pump it up to 10 or 15%, we could be more aggressive with the buy that we want to do. Is that right?
That's completely right, indeed. So yeah, shall I set it up?
Yeah, let's do it. We're getting bullish here. All right, Frank. So we have this. So you just opened your your auto buy automation. So what are we
Yes.
seeing here, and how should we think about this now once it's already set up? Maybe you want to go back and forth between your position and your automation, and yeah.
Yeah. So we can see that the trigger LTV is set at 48%, with the target being at 53. That means that the next buy price, so the current market price, you can see it in the top right, is 2,968. The next buy price is at 3145.26, with a recurring buy order all the way up to 4,000. So when the market price reaches 4,000, it will no longer be eligible for, like, no trigger will be eligible anymore. And that is like, that's what you can see on this optimization tab. If you go, you can just go back and forth between your overview and your automation, just by clicking the optimization tab. And you can set up others as well. So if you want to set up an auto sell next, or a stop loss, or a trading stop loss, you have all these possibilities right in front of you.
Beautiful.
So
Now,
that
what
is,
happens?
sorry.
Sorry. Oh, thank you. What happens if? So we have a LTV, right? And we had this price around what the next price that it would trigger at. If you go back to the optimization, does it tell you what price?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, lovely. So that's awesome. So what would happen if you were managing this position? Let's say the price went down a lot, you bought more ETH and you added it to this position, or you borrowed more and you bought more from this position manually without it
Yeah.
triggering. So you bought the dip, so to speak. How would this change? Would the price change? Yeah. How should you think about that?
Yeah. So you cut out for a second, but I got the question still. I'm not. Maybe that was on my side. So you can still manage this position fully. Just when you are increasing it beyond the wait, yes, that's when you're decreasing it beyond your auto buy trigger price, then you will get a notification that you cannot make adjustments to your position which take it below your auto buy trigger loan to value. So you don't, you cannot just decrease this risk right now up to below that point, but you can always increase your risk, and then it will still be triggered when it hits that 48%.
Great. Awesome. Cool. So, anything else we need to know here about auto buy? I mean, we've talked about how to manage it. We've talked about how to set it up. We've talked about when to set it up. Yeah, we know how to set it up in terms of what all the stuff you need to do. So yeah, I think we've covered everything, and there'll be a lot more videos and tutorials and stuff around how to use auto buy with other stuff and everything else. So yeah, any last words from you, Frank?
Just try it for yourself. You can try it on a small position if you like, on an L2. But if you have any questions, you can hit us up on Discord like always, or drop them in the comments down below.
Bye bye.
Bye.